those of you who have not seen Corey Feldman's documentary about the two Coreys, oh my goodness, it absolutely blew me away. What those guys suffered as young people and the abuse that Corey is speaking about now is such an important story that needs to be heard. And in the description box below this video are links as to how you can watch it. And I urge as many people to do so as possible. Huge thank you to Corey for joining us. And if you've seen him speaking about the horrors of what happens in Hollywood, you can see he is full of passion. He's speaking from experience, and he's just getting a real powerful message out there. So powerful, in fact, that the debut of the documentary was hacked. He is getting all kinds of threats to his life, and that has made him reconsider even doing a second part. So huge thank you for coming on, Corey. Just as background, could you tell us what got you into acting and how you ended up meeting Corey Haim?
Okay, well, good to see you today, Sean. What got me into acting was my parents. You know, there was no love for acting. There was no dream. There was no wish. There was no desire. I was 3 years old. In fact, most 3-year-olds, I'm pretty sure, don't communicate to their parents any great desire for a future business endeavor. In fact, kids don't know what the words business or endeavor mean. So therefore, I had nothing to do with it, which I think is one of the most troubling details of my whole story. The fact that I've never had a chance to live my own life. I've never had a chance to be the man I want to be, or start any career path, any opportunity, because I've always been nailed down to this is who you are. You are world famous. Everybody knows you. People like to make fun of you. You're going to be harassed for the fact that you're famous. You're going to be bullied because you're famous. You're going to be sexually abused because you're famous. And now we have the right to make you a punching bag and a target because you're famous. And that's really the story of my life. And it's tragic. No child should ever be put into the film industry until they are old enough to make that decision for themselves. It is a life sentence. It is a life sentence. And it's not just a life sentence, but it is intertwined into a dark world of selfishness, greed, and what I'm learning more and more is a connection to the occult. So, you know, I had no idea. I was an innocent bystander. And you know what? The more I've learned, the less I've participated in all of it.
I can't imagine the pressure you must have been under, compounded then by the abuse, which we're going to get to. So how did you meet Corey Haim?
Well, Corey and I met through the set of Lost Boys. You know, we were both cast to be in the film together. And that's pretty well documented through the movie and in my book and, you know, many other ways that I've talked about it. And I'll also let you know something else, John, based on the incredible amount of abuse that I've endured in the last 3 years, the incredible amount of terror that my family and I have survived over the past 3 years. I am at a point where I don't even want to mention his name again. I mean, I really don't. I really don't, because I love Corey. It's very hard to explain talking about your brother. You know, yes, we were actors together. Yes, we did a bunch of movies together. Yes, people see the on-screen part. But what people don't know and people don't realize was every minute that we spent together off screen, which was constant. You know, we were inseparable. And anybody who knew us knew that, except for, of course, when he was living in Canada. He would go off to Canada and he would live there sometimes for 6 months, sometimes 2 years. When he wasn't working in Hollywood, you know, there were many years that he was, you know, forgotten and people didn't work with him at all. I was in the same boat. The only difference is because I stayed here, I would get a lot of independent film offers. And every once in a while, a friend of mine from the industry would help me out and throw me a bone and give me some kind of legitimate work. So it built the story better where it looked like I had a more consistent career. But at the end of the day, we were both swept under the carpet the second we turned 18. And the thing is, you know, in starting this mission, I wouldn't have done it without Judy Haim's permission. I wouldn't have started this without her permission. That's why we show in the film the emails back and forth between her and I as we were negotiating the terms of me doing my book, because I wouldn't have done any of this without the permission of the mother of the child who was being abused. So it all started that way. And I mean, you know, one day I guess I would love to just put up the full emails. I don't know how much legal jeopardy I caused myself by doing that, but I would really like people to be able to read the whole entirety of the emails, because it's sickening and it's mind-boggling when you see the fact that, first of all, a lot of it wasn't on email. A lot of it was phone calls and conversations. Right after Corey died, I mean, immediately after Corey died, when I saw that he was ignored on the Academy Awards, that's when I blew up. That's when I went crazy. When I saw that they did not give him the respect that he deserved. First of all, let me say he was a brilliant actor. And when I say a brilliant actor, I worked with some of the greatest legends of our time, from Jason Robards, Harry Dean Stanton, I mean, Sean Astin, Josh Brolin, you know, I mean, just from across the board. You know, I've worked with everybody at some point. I mean, you know, literal legends like I'm trying to think of names right now, but I'm drawing a blank. It's a bit early for me here. But like, if you think of like all the great comedy legends, the people that you know really made, like Milton Berle or Ed Asner, or people that, you know, just all these people that have been around in you know, for history, Gene Stapleton. I mean, historic acting legends, and I've worked with all of them. And there was something about Corey Haim that was so unique and so original. And the timing that we shared together, the way that we could roll off of each other. He would make a joke and I would know where to pick up. I would make a joke, he would know where to pick up. The kind of timing that you saw with Laurel and Hardy, the kind of timing that you saw with Abbott and Costello, you know, that great comedic pair, which we experienced in our daily lives because we made each other laugh so much that we would cry, you know, and we would cry about the pain that we endured, but then we would laugh about it. And look, we were brothers. And when you're brothers, that's not to say that you're going to get along every day. You're going to have fights. And man, did we have fights. We had fist fights. We went to fisticuffs. We had, you know, brawls. You know, he would sit there and tease me and poke at me and nudge me. And sometimes I wanted to strangle him. But that's what love is. That's what brothers are. And anybody who takes some little excerpt from a moment that Corey and I had a fight one day, and Corey goes out to the press and decides to badmouth me, and they'll take that little piece and go, look, you guys were never brothers. He couldn't stand you. He hated you. And you're like, you're going to take a clip out of a moment in time and hold that as this was our relationship. This is insanity. It's insanity. But anyway, the point being that when you know, you share that much love and you share that much brotherhood with an individual, and then, you know, I go to the mom and he, you know, he passes away, and I see what's happened to him. And I said, listen, we have to stop this. If we don't stand up for him now, if we don't tell people the truth, that he was not a junkie, he was not some washed up movie star, he was not some just loser teen idol who couldn't get a job, the way that they want to portray him, the way they want to portray me. No, none of that qualifies. What qualifies is one certain truth, that this was a brilliantly, wildly, incredibly talented man who was so severely abused and wrecked when he was 13 years old that he never was able to mentally recover. He was never able to emotionally recover, and he was never able to find peace in his heart. And this moment changed him so powerfully and intensely that he was never able to go back and say, this is who I am, this is my sexuality, this is what I want in life. He couldn't put those kind of basic protocols into place because for him, he didn't know what his sexuality was. He knew that he wanted to feel loved. He knew he loved women, but he also knew that all he could recognize was the fact that men wanted to be with him. Men wanted to take a part of him. Men abused him and took a part of him since he was a little boy. So that's why he was so confused in his mind. But at the end of the day, does that matter? Why would Judy care if anybody, her biggest concern is anybody might think that I'm trying to say he was gay. He wasn't gay, first of all. Secondly, who gives a crap